What we wanted to do was to get it to the point where it was smaller. So I really opened it up to get the sunlight in, and then to shave off maybe another 4 to 6 inches all around, then it would be smaller. Well, you know, all of us are getting older, and we're thinking to see if we could downsize the container and the tree, but keeping the trunk thick. Before getting started, I usually do this. I have a couple of water standing by, and then what I do is to add willow. Okay, in the good old days, I learned this from the old Japanese gentleman. In the good old days, to do the cuttings, they didn't have all this hormone yet. So they used to put the willow and put the pieces you want to root in there. And then, well, this is just my idea. Since they say they're great, of course, they're the one that's saying it, but I figure it never hurts to take a couple of drops in there. Whether it's working or not, this is not an endorsement. I just say that that's what I've been doing because I figured, why take the chance? Well, usually in a day or two, I take these and put the rooting hormone, and then, so I have 3 ways that it could strike. Well, let's, first of all, today is the 2nd week in October. Not the most ideal time to make cuttings. Now, if you want to be successful, cutting should be looking like this. And if you could do it in March, you should have very successful rooting, right? And then so you take this relatively young one like this, or you could scrape this off. But what you want to do is to cut down on the transpirational loss. So yeah, if you do this at the right time period and with the proper location, you should be able to get like 90% success rate. Not doing that, we're going to be in a hurry, okay? So, and then, well, one of the reasons I'm doing this, knowing that it's not the right season, I want to for you to, if you have a chance to do this, even if it's off season, you should learn how to prune and style from these discards, right? So, something like this. So, now, if I get this to root, it would be more like a literati style or bunjing. Then you could put your movement in like that, right? But no use worrying about that now. Can you get it to strike? So once you get this foliage reduction so that it cuts down on transpirational loss, you should always cut this at a diagonal, right? And then put it in that water. Throw it in there. Now this one here, you could see there's a lot of branching and we could create movement. So how about, and if you were to take something that is, pretend this is rooted, then all you have to do is to do like this and get your initial pruning done. So it has movement and somewhat taper too. So let's get rid of this. It's still got too many foliage. Yeah, if you get too much to transpire, then it'll just fall apart and die. Now that should be much better. Go and cut diagonal. Throw it in the water. If you were to buy like at a retail nursery, you probably come in looking like that, right? But we want one good clean line. So we start taking it off and see what we have to work with. We got this movement going like that, right? Okay, we probably want a side branch here, but having a big one ends up with too much foliage. So you go like this. You can see what I'm doing, right? So the chance of these older ones striking or rooting is usually less. So let's say you just purchased a tree or shrub that was looking like this. So pretend that this is already rooted, it's in the ground. Well, the first step you got to do is to find one clean line. And then you can see that there's so many lines up there. Which one? It's quite difficult sometimes to try to decide what you want to do with it, right? So let's cut some more out. Okay, now this part is very straight, and then there's a turn over here. So I think I'll go that way. Well, the beauty of this is all discard, right? So there's no pressure. Even if you got it cheap, there's always the thinking that, oh, I don't want to kill this nice live plant, right? So I say that this is probably one of the best ways to learn. So as we go up here, there's another turn this way. So I'm going to go with that. Okay. I could turn it here, but that seems a little abrupt. So I'm going to go up here. See? Now, well, let me clean this up. Okay, now, this is a Hinoki Cypress. They have a easy time back budding, so we don't have to worry too much. Okay. Let's clean this off, and so far it's okay, but as we go up here, it forks again, and I probably want to, which way do I want to go? I think I'll go this way. And see, so now you got all this movement. Now, if you're going to take a cutting, and if this whole thing takes, it seems like this is awfully long. Well, we don't know if it's going to take, but why don't we shorten it so we get this to root, then see how much better this looks. Okay, well, if this takes, then we're maybe 3 years ahead of taking our typical cuttings. Okay, this is the before shot, and I'll go ahead and trim and then show you the results. Okay, now these are ready to go into the water and then probably sit for a day. Well, how about these three? I'll go ahead and do the same thing. I'll go ahead and trim it up and then show you the results. This one is more like a formal upright with a straighter trunk. These are the most difficult because it's difficult to keep it straight and get the taper that you want. Now, it's really not that useful to be worried too much till we know we get this rooted, right? And then this one here is sort of like that. But this is the informal upright, which is the most common. And then it has the movement, distinct movement, and taper. Okay, let's see if we could do a distinct informal upright. Get rid of these, and then, okay, so now it has some movement down here, right? And then over here, there's a nice line this way. But if I cut this bigger side and go with that, then there is a more distinct taper. So, and this one, probably cut it off for now. So now you see the movement there, right? And if I go with this line, it straightens out. But if I go with this, then it has more movement. So you see, it has movement, right? Well, there's 3 more here. Okay, well, I did this on purpose. Some of you is going to try this method. You know what? Forget it. You should do this. Do 2. Better chance of success. Well, like I was saying, this is not the best month to try to make cuttings. I've done some in September, early part of September, and some have taken, but the early spring, late winter, early spring is much better in terms of the Hinoki and Cypresses and junipers and things like that. And then, like this one here, older root wood has a less chance of striking than some of the younger ones. So if you really want success, then it's better to go like this, younger one, like that in March, then you get much more success rate. But the purpose of this program was to say, can we take a shortcut? And so that's what we're doing, is kind of pushing our luck with the older wood, get some movement in there. And you know what? I'm going to junk this, because if it roots, it's already got a bulge started over here. So forget it. And so that's one things you could do, is you could start to grade it, and then, you know, nothing worse than a junky one that roots, because now what are you going to do? You don't want to throw it away, but then you got all this struggle, versus something that is clean line like this. You could do all kinds of things with that. Yeah, and then the more I think about this, well, I guess it's okay. Yep, you could tell that it's not a scripted program. Well, it's really no use scripting when you're doing bonsai, because you don't know till it happens. Oh yeah, so now if this thing strikes, look at that movement in there. Most likely it'd be better if it was cut here, but right now I'm going to keep it, and if it does succeed, then I think in terms of this twists and turns, it'd be better over here. Ah, what the heck. Okay, that's it. See, now look at this. Of course, these could be cleaned up, but no use worrying about that until this actually sets root. Okay, so a day or so later, I'll take these out. And they'll be nice and wet too, right? So take your rooting hormone, you dip it in there, and put it in a growing medium. And the trick is, you know, this is your water bottle. Take that, and this becomes your greenhouse. So then you will decrease the transpirational loss and have much more success. So if you do this in March, usually by May or June, issues have started to root. So you will remove this and then keep it till about September, and then transplant. And that's all there is to it. So anyway, hopefully this is basically a review, but well, a lot of us need to see it more than once anyway. So anyway, this is Hiro saying goodbye. This is one way to make future materials. and learn some basic pruning techniques. So I've been working on Mike's Hinoki Cypresses that needed major pruning. So do what I was doing today in early March, April, May, then you should have fairly good success rate. Okay, this is Hiro saying goodbye. I'll see you again real soon in another chapter.